2, 1.
Whenever you're ready, Gary.
Oh, opening up, yep.
Yeah,
Yep, it's
take us
hot.
in.
Whenever you're ready.
Right, let's just have a look what we got on here again. So the biggest news would be some sales.
Sales and the SNES leak.
Oh yeah. Right, ready?
Yep.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 213, recorded on January 17th, 2019. On tonight's episode, we're discussing Smash Brothers sales and some Super NES leaks and so much more. So, Jesse, once again, play that sweet, sweet music.
You know what that music means, folks? That means it's time for Nintendo Dads, and it's episode 213, recorded on January 17th, 2019, just like you heard Gary say. My name is Marty Estes, and I'm joined tonight by Jesse Waldack. How are you, brother?
I am glad to have power, because for most of the time between last show and this show, we didn't.
Yeah. You guys got some killer snow.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of snow, but it was just wet and heavy, and our trees aren't used to it. Like, last 2 or 3 years, I think we've gotten 6 to 8 inches for the season, not as the first snow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we lost power Saturday morning.
Do people there freak out when snow comes, like they do where I live?
No, but we still. Some people on the roads don't know how to drive in the snow, so those of us who do have to be super careful. But there isn't a lot of freak out. The last time there was a freak out, we called it Snowmageddon. There was like 18 inches in the forecast, and the Walmart's shelves were really bare, and people would stocking up thinking they'd be stuck in their houses for 3 or 4 days. And we ended up having 2 of those in the same season. So there was.
I don't understand. Like whenever that happens here, like if there's snow in the forecast, people are always like, "We got to get down to the Walmart and get our bread and milk." And I'm like, if you get stuck in your house and all you have is bread and milk, what are you going to do with that?
Right.
Like milk sandwiches.
Yeah. I grew up in Minnesota, so back in the Megadad's country, and so I know how to handle myself in the snow.
Yeah. Speaking of handling himself in the snow, Gary Gray, how are you, brother?
That was borderline getting dark already. I
realized what was going on about halfway through there. How you doing, man?
I'm good. And advice for people: if you're going to run to the stores in the snow, go and get tin stuff because that actually lasts.
Sure, right,
if you're going to be snowed in, don't get bread. That's the first thing that goes off.
Sure. So bread and milk are the thing that spoil the quickest.
Yeah. So I'm good. It's been a while since I've been on the show. I've been so busy with university work and life and all that sort of stuff. I did get up for last week's show, saw that there was a full house. I was like, well, I'm crawling back to bed now. so it's good to be on. It's good to be on.
Right. Well, it is good to have you back. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe and some other games we've been playing. But first, before we do that, let's get right into this week's news. And our news, as usual, is brought to us by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help us make life-changing, world-altering, gigantic, huge, awesome Nintendo content direct to your feed and others. And this week and last week, what we have done, just trying something new, is we've done some pre-show gaming ahead of time. The past couple weeks, it's been Mario Kart. And if you're a $1 patron, in anything higher than that, you can go to the Let's Play channel of our Discord that allows you access to, and you can vote on those weekly tournaments or weekly gaming nights. Tonight was Mario Kart Battle. Battlegeddon is what we called it. And the fun part about this is people were in there playing that had never played Mario Kart 8 Battle Mode. They're like, what is this? What's this level? I didn't know it existed. Yeah, it's in there.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. It was a lot of fun. And so if you want to game with us, you can check it out over there. In fact, there was actually even an hour of Smash prior to that, and there's going to be a tournament or a gaming night every week. You'll get to vote on that up till Wednesday, and then we'll lock in our choice of game and get ready to play on Thursday nights for an hour prior to the show. That is something we are doing for you patrons, and those codes to get into those games and everything will only be on our Patreon and only be on our Discord. And so if you want to join in on those, go over to Nintendo, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, pledge $1 a month. That gets you in.
I've been hoping for a Jackbox night, but Smash and Mario Kart just get all the votes.
Yeah, we decided tonight that we're kicking Mario Kart out next week. It's had its 2 weeks. We're gonna kick it out of the rotation, and so Smash, Jackbox will be in there. We were gonna try Fortnite, but then we realized that it limits you to like 4 people partied up at a time. So we're looking for some other games that we can add to that rotation and still get to hang out. Yeah, we could do ARMS, but the problem with that is not a lot of people who own it.
I know. That's the problem, you see. I absolutely adored ARMS, but it got dropped hot and fast.
Well, that's because they released Splatoon 2 a month later.
Yep, that is exactly why.
And they cannibalized it. It was, So anyway, thanks to all our 91 patrons who support this show every week. You guys are awesome, and keep watching over there for some updates on some upcoming content. Speaking of updates and leaks, our biggest story this week is...
Besides my faucet?
Yeah. You got to leave those faucets on when the power goes off, or your pipes will freeze up and they'll burst.
Yeah, we specifically told every kid, don't shut this off. Yep.
Little pro tip there, straight from the dads. No, a data miner this week who has been is a well-known data miner in the Nintendo community and has found out some things before that have been pretty reliable. Happened upon something interesting when data mining the NES online service app. What do you think he found, guys?
He found something to try and prove me wrong for my game of the year predictions. That's what it is.
Right.
My 2019 predictions are already loaded into the toilet, and they're just waiting for someone to flush that chain.
Can I tell you what he didn't find in there? When he was data mining, he didn't find Super Mario Brothers 2 because apparently Nintendo's forgot about it.
Yeah, that game doesn't exist.
Kind of.
It needs.
He kind of found it.
Kinda. That's true. What he did find, guys,
didn't find N64 games.
Evidence of 22 Super Nintendo games in the NES online service app. With yesterday's updates, some of the game descriptions for SNES games have more languages added, with hints at a release date sooner than we might think. The list of games that this data miner found are as follows. Super Mario Kart, and let me say this before I read the rest of this list. There are some really surprising additions on this list, right? I mean, there's some things I would not have thought of that would be coming out in this. So let's go down this list. Yeah. Super Mario Kart, Super Soccer. There's one that shocked me.
I don't even think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Demon's Crest, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Course, Poppin' Twinbee, which I guess is the Super Nintendo sequel to Twinbee.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing either.
Right. Star Fox, Contra 3, Kirby Superstar, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Pilot Wings, F-Zero, Star Fox 2, Super Punch-Out, Out of Nowhere, The Legend of Mystical Ninja,
yes.
Super Mario All-Stars, and Breath of Fire 2.
Yeah, there's your Mario 2 representation.
Right. So this, of course, has set the internet ablaze with speculation as to when we might get these games, or are we going to get these games, or what is this? So I just think let's go around the horn here and talk about this for a minute. What is going on, Gary? What do you think is going on here?
Well, you know, I always like to be the other person on this show. I actually think that people are
normally
jumping...
that's me, so it's nice if someone else for a change.
I think that people are jumping a little bit too much too fast to a conclusion. I think that these could basically be internal sort of workings and trials, and it doesn't necessarily mean that these things are coming out now or in a couple of months or at the end of the year. These could just be trials that Nintendo have been doing internally and a bit of data that's been left over. So I think they will come. I think it's a given that they'll come eventually. But
let me push back on one thing right there. If they're just trials, why are there so many games?
Probably because they could have just ROM dumped. They could have just dumped a load of ROMs on there and been experimenting.
Just to, like you say, maybe just to see how it handled it.
If that was the case, why would they have all the description information, mostly in Japanese, but now including additional languages as well?
I mean, I have no idea.
They got to be doing something with it.
I have no idea about that sort of stuff, but I mean, like I say, it's not as if I don't believe that they're coming and all that sort of stuff. But because the data's in there, it could just be that they're preparing it, you know, from the beginning. Maybe they have no intention of releasing it this year. Yeah, they're gonna come. Just it's all a matter of when.
I think
I think the question is, because they may have been planning on a certain date, but because it was found and leaked, they may go, they can wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. Jesse, your thoughts on this? Anything to add?
Not really. You know, there's a lot of information in here other than just the ROM dump, so I think these will happen eventually. Whether the fact that we'll get all these at once, or maybe 20, or 50, 10 or 15 at first, and then a slow drip, or just a slow drip from the start, we don't know yet. But sounds like we're going to get these eventually. Somewhat.
I don't think you're going to get them. I definitely don't think you're going to get them all at once. And I can't see them waiting. At this point, I can't see them waiting until E3 for this. I think it's going to come beforehand.
The one thing that I think you got to remember is that there was NES games already in this thing from launch, and those games we don't have them still yet
on the
service. Yeah,
that's been removed. This no longer exists on the Switch. So it is possible that hidden data could be removed in the future, and they said nope, that's not happening.
I mean, didn't a similar thing happen years ago with the 3DS with Game Boy Advance games as well? And yet the only Game Boy Advance games that ever appeared on it was the Ambassadors Program ones. And despite what the internet says, people were saying that they run horribly. They didn't run horribly, but they never really came to the 3DS.
You know, as an ambassador, I totally agree with that. I don't think they ran horribly at all.
They ran fine, but the problem was putting it in sleep mode didn't put the game to sleep. And I forgot about that, so my Metroid playthrough was like 87 hours.
Oh, you didn't get that alternative ending?
No, far from it. Even so, I other than that, they ran fine. So that they could have fixed it, like the original NES Ambassador Program games did get a patch update when they were started to be sold individually to support all the extra features. Those GBA games never were sold, so they never got updated. Mm.
I really wish that we would get some solid info. It might be like, this might be one of those things for Nintendo. They do one of those things. What do they call them? That people like to watch. They do them about once every quarter. Oh yeah, Direct.
Yeah, I imagine there's. Yeah, I was thinking this might be in whatever the next Direct is, whenever it might be.
It might be in this Direct, or it might be in the one that drops before E3, because we're going to get another one before then.
Now I'm certain that I think maybe the next Direct might be Marchish, and then one after that will be pre-E3.
Sure, yeah. I think this is a good time to take a diversion here, and one of our fans, John Blanco, asked us or asked this while we were playing Mario Kart. And he brings up a good point, and us talking about the Direct kind of brought this to my mind. If you're a Nintendo Switch owner, what do you have to look forward to in January and February?
No,
unless past this week, what do you have to look forward to? Past Mario and Travis Strikes Again.
Okay, so as a
Backlog.
Nintendo fan, as a Nintendo fan, we've never really had anything January, February-ish. We've always had like the D-Raid game for as long as I can remember. I don't think I've ever really brought a game in January and February from Nintendo. So I mean, the thing is, we don't really need a Nintendo Direct. No, calm down, everyone. Yes, the English guy said something that you might not want to hear, but my opinion is that we don't really need it yet because we know there's a lot of games. We just need dates for them.
Yeah, I mean, they've announced a ton of things for this year, maybe, or next year, right? But there's no firm dates for anything. We know we're getting Animal Crossing. We know we're getting, but what Fire Emblem is supposed to be this year, right? Maybe Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime 4 date got leaked apparently this week for November, and then people were pointing out that it's Black Friday, and Nintendo's not releasing a game on Black Friday.
No, they traditionally release a game a week prior as their big holiday game.
Pokemon, possibly this year. I'm predicting it's going to miss.
Daemon X Machina? That's supposed to be early this year as well, wasn't it?
Daemon X Machina, yeah. Like, that's one that we've seen at, twice now? And gotten zero firm, release date on.
I'm checking my notes to see what I have for that one. I think I have a range for early, but...
I think it just said early 2019, which early 2019 for them could be any time before June.
Because to be honest, January is done. We've had New Super Mario Bros. U. New Super Mario Bros. U is the big game of the month, and Travis Strikes Again is the companion to that. January is done. I don't think we're going to get another big game in January. Even if the Direct happens, we're not getting anything else January.
Do you think that
I still have just
comes
2019 for Daemon X Machina?
Do you think that question comes out of the fact that 2017 and 2018, and I know, Gary, you said 2018 wasn't that great for you, but 2017 and 2018 at least saw constant releases, right? Like actual, not eShop games.
I don't think February had anything last year, did it?
I don't know, but but we knew stuff was coming. Right? We knew, the only thing, my answer to his question was is that really the only thing that we have a firm date for that is a big AAA game or whatever you want to call it is we know that Mortal Kombat 11 is coming out on April 23rd. And that's it.
Yeah, it's tricky because 2017 we didn't really know anything until the Switch launched. So the start of the year was dead. Pretty much.
Right. Well, it was dead for a good reason. They were transitioning.
2018, I don't think we had any. I said last year was actually a really good year for gaming.
Yeah. Last February, we had Bayonetta 1 and 2, Mario Odyssey update with the balloon.
I do believe that Bayonetta 1 and 2 came out in February.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said last year. I was just thinking.
Yeah.
So I was going to firm it up a little bit.
February last year, 2018.
So last year to me was the start of the year was pretty dull, and that goes hand in hand with what Jesse just said. It was a port. It was an old game that came out in February, the same as what January has happened this year. And I don't think that anything really picked up until after we had the Direct. That's when we found out that Kirby was coming, that Hyrule Warriors was coming. Just after that, we had the news that Labo was coming, and those were in my opinion, the first major releases of the year. So I don't think Nintendo really concentrates at all for the winter period, the January, February. I think that they rely on their games, the Christmas period, to be the big sellers for that sort of season. So, the big games really start coming from about March, April time.
Just taking a look at their actual release page on their website, there's not going to be a drought of software.
Yeah, not at all.
Right? There's not going to be... it's going to be there, and there's some big things that are kind of lurking out there that I'm looking here, just picking out some things. Shovel Knight, and I know that's indie, but it's still a big name now. Yep. Shovel Knight King of Cards is April 2019. Mortal Kombat again is April 2019. King of the Hat and Miniko's Night Market, which are pretty have a big buzz around them as far as indie games. Those are out there early, have been quoted early 2019. Wargroove. I know we got an email the other day to talk about getting keys. Review keys for Wargroove, so we know that that's probably coming at some point, right? But I mean, just like last year, I guess you're right. Like we had January and February that didn't have much. We had Bayonetta in February, we had Kirby in March, we had Labo in April, and then May or June we had something. But it was almost like almost every month we had a game that was a big deal come out. And so far 2019 is so like it's the word that comes to mind is nebulous. Like it's just there's nothing congealed for this right now, and that bothers me because it makes it look like there's no plan, which I know there is a plan. I know that Nintendo has something. It's just why are we to this point where now like everybody's starting to like this question's starting to spin more and more?
It's I mean the thing is the cycle of hype as well. We expect the Nintendo Direct, and when it comes, the 90% of the people are going to say they're disappointed by it anyway.
Right.
But the thing is there is a plan this year, and it's actually in motion anyway, because we've already got the January games, as I've already said. February, Piranha Plant. Don't need anything else. It's Smash related. Then March, we've got a game for March. We've got
two games.
2 games for March.
We've got 3DS and Switch are covered.
Yeah, and then April, you say Mortal Kombat. So I mean, would that be classed as the main game for April? In which case, I can actually see a Nintendo Direct not happening until next month now. If they bother doing it.
If you notice, I watched the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal today.
I didn't get a chance to do that. I wanted to.
The Xbox and PlayStation versions are getting a demo, which is like basically beta early access if you pre-order. You also get the same thing with the Switch. You also get access to Shao Kahn as a playable character at release date if you pre-order. But they're also getting a special edition with like a helmet statue and steelbook case, it looks like, and other things. And no Switch version was mentioned. So I wonder, are they saving that for the Direct? Is it getting a special edition too, or is it another one of those cases where it's like, it's probably not going to sell as well on the Switch, so we're just not going to bother?
I think that's it, Marty. I think you got it completely hit the nail on the head. Because
I'm buying it on the Switch. I have the potential to buy it on PlayStation 4 or Switch. I'm buying it on Switch because I'll play it on the go.
The truth is, I mean, regardless of the sales numbers, there's still, if you're going to release something like that, if you're a developer, you're going to release something across multiple platforms. There's always that thing in the back of your head that says, if someone's going to buy this and they own a Switch and they own a PlayStation, are they really going to buy the Switch version? Because if I was a multiple console owner, I mean, it depends. If it's a game like Mortal Kombat, then probably not, because the other consoles are going to have a beefier version of it. It's going to run better. I mean, if you're talking a fighting game between 30 frames and 60 frames, that's a difference. It's a difference in shooters and fighting games for sure. So
somebody called after seeing the images of it today, they called it a cutscene generator. And it is. I mean, like they've taken those the Bone Crusher attacks or whatever, and there's just so many of them now.
QTE, the game.
It almost kind of just looks like it plays itself.
I've actually completely lost track of where we're going now. We started off on a news section.
That's okay. No, I mean we started off on news, but I think this is news. That we're talking about the fact that. The question is being asked, does Nintendo have a plan? We've missed missed the purported date for a Direct, right? I mean, whatever, the internet decided there was a date for the Direct and we missed it. And now here we are at the start of the year, and
Quality
it's like
sources.
up until April, there's not really a game announced, or
And so,
or until March. Let's put it that way. If if you're not getting Yoshi, which I know some people are not, they're not gonna get Yoshi because they don't get it or they don't like it or whatever. If you're not gonna get Yoshi, the next like big game is Mortal Kombat, and it's the end of April.
This comes with an important life lesson, kids. For those of you who listen to the leakers, not mentioning any by names or anything like that, some of them, they know what they're talking about, and they do have behind the scenes, information and stuff like that. But please, take a bowl of salt and have a little pinch of it, because a lot of these, they're cold calling. They are seeing what's happened in the past. They're seeing what the trends are online, and they're going with that and then spinning it into their own thing. So whenever this sort of heavily rumored direct, heavily rumored Star Fox Grand Prix rumors come out, please just take it with a pinch of salt, because people are only going to get upset when it doesn't happen, which is what's happening right now.
Right, yeah, and people are upset.
We don't necessarily need directs. This can happen anytime. Game announcements can happen anytime, which you've seen on the Switch. Constant rolling of game announcements. But the package of a Nintendo Direct is really nice. But, I mean, if Nintendo have basically heard the complaints of people saying, right, we don't know what's going on in the future, so they start telling you what's going on in the future, those Nintendo Directs aren't going to be so special. And in my opinion, that's what's happening this year, because we know that there's a lot of stuff coming. We just don't know dates. So if we get a Direct...
I think the sad, or not the sad part, but the hard part about this is this, and I'll say this and we'll move on. Nintendo has kind of done this to themselves.
Yep.
In that they've backed themselves into the proverbial rock and a hard place, right? Because they train us to expect the Direct. And then, the signs point to a Direct, and it's been a while since we've heard from them via Direct. And they're not like other companies where they're just going to in the past they haven't been, where they're just going to shoot out a announcement whenever, or do a big reveal like with Mortal Kombat for one single game. We expect a Direct. And so it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, danged if you do, danged if you don't. If I do a Direct and it's not good enough, then people are going to talk about it. And if I don't do a Direct and people expect it, then they're going to talk about it. And so that's where we're kind of in right now. We're in that limbo.
Also, just to skip on this, because I know we need to move on, but there was something quite big happening this year, and that's that Sony's not turning up to E3. So this is actually Nintendo's chance and opportunity to actually make one of the biggest impacts in an E3, which will be the first time they've done that in a long time. So who knows? Maybe they could have seen that news and thought, you know what, that stuff that was going to announce in the Direct in January, maybe we don't need to do that Direct now. Maybe we can move some of that back and then kill it at E3.
And the Direct, if and when it happens, is going to help us with speculation for what that big game at E3 is going to be. Yeah. Because there's going to be a big focus game. So we'll just have to wait and see.
The third strongest mole in the chat says Star Fox Grand Prix is just spending some quality time with the N64 Classic and the Mother 3 translation.
I'm glad
they're all hanging out in the green room waiting.
I'm glad somebody's hugging F-Zero and keeping it warm.
Well, the thing is they're all being watched over by the watchful eye of Waluigi as he waits for his chance to get to be DLC in Smash.
It's going to be a very long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm beginning to realize that. Speaking of Smash, this number that I'm about to quote to you, just it on one hand it blows me away. On the other hand, I get it. Like I totally understand why. On a conference call this week, the president of Nintendo. The president, it wasn't on a conference call. It was actually in a Japanese daily magazine, Nikkei Kogyo Shimbun. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but that's okay. He gave some tidbits about Nintendo's end of the year. One of the things that he very casually drops in this interview is that in 1 week, Smash sold 5 million units globally.
And to put that into comparison, the Smash for Wii U sold like 5.3 million lifetime.
Took 4 years. It took Smash for Switch 7 days to do what Smash for Wii U did in 4 years and counting. He also says, and I'm going to follow this up with a couple of these numbers, Switch is the home console that is seeing the fastest software sales so far in Nintendo's history. No duh. And also says that Switch software sales started picking up steam in mid-November. Surprise, surprise, that was when Pokemon went on sale.
Yep.
There may be a little bit of correlation there.
And then like 3 weeks before Smash.
Right, yeah. And so moving on from there, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, because I mean, that's just a real, it's a number. Furukawa also did comment on Labo. Now, on the show, we've talked in the past about how Nintendo has not released any numbers about Labo and about how they've been pretty nonchalant, avoidant about really talking about sales numbers. No, Furukawa did not give a hard, clear sales number on Labo. But here's the quote, and here's what he said. And I think this is pretty blunt, just to be honest. Here's what he says. It hasn't sold well, as other hit games have. But we did have an increase in sales for Labo during the end of the year. There are many new ways to experience Labo, and we're working on formulating new methods that convey its allure so Labo's sales will have longer legs.
I don't understand if they're even... Do they think that they would? Because Labo has a very limited age range of interest, where Smash does not.
To fight the comment you've just made, I actually think that Labo had the potential to do amazingly well, like so much better than it did. But that price point, ouch.
The price point's high.
It's so high.
And Gary, to your point, the reason for the uptick in sales, I believe, is basically the sales a lot of retailers ran at the end of the year. Buy one, get one for, get two for $99.99, right?
Inventory purge.
It was an inventory purge.
The thing that completely blows my mind with Labo is that basically the software is completely useless without the cardboard. Yet they included a physical game. My opinion is that they should have released all those things in the variety kits as little separate sections with the download code for the software. That could have been off the shelves for like $15, $20 each then, as opposed to...
And it's still not too late to do that.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it's just, it really does baffle me that they bundled that together at such a high price point and expected it to sell well.
I agree with you. I think selling the individual cardboard kits with a code for downloadable software would have been the best thing you could do.
Because if they ever do that, I'll probably would buy the piano,
kit and you piece it out.
Nothing else really interests me.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm really interested in the vehicle kit. I think it's the best of the three. It looks the most fully implemented, but I cannot dive into more Labo considering the fact that my kids played with the variety kit for a week before it went in a box in the closet, and I built and slaved over that robot kit, and we played it one time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see,
awesome. But the robot kit is the hard sell for me because it's especially clunky because you have to, for those of you who have done it, you know this, the cords that attach to the weights in the backpack, you have to undo those and redo those every time you play.
Yeah.
So that you can get them the right length for your kids or you or whatever. And then when I did finally get it right and I got to play, it drops you into this game as this robot with absolutely no instructions, with absolutely nothing. You're just standing there and it's like, okay, so what do I do? You know, like I don't like I get it, discover it, whatever. No, give me a tutorial and then let me go. It was very counterintuitive, and it left a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, we are the target audience for this. People will say, no, it's for the kids. No,
Yes,
no, it's the parents of the kids that it's aimed for. And I have Labo, and it's been sat in a box. And the reason it's sat in a box is because I don't feel that my daughter's old enough yet for it. And it is something I want to build with my daughter. We built the RC car because it was simple enough; she could understand it.
Right.
But the rest of it, I'm going to wait until probably this summer to build, where she'll be a bit more clued up. She's ready for school.
How old's your daughter?
She's 4.
Do not wait too long to build the house.
Yeah, I know.
All I'm gonna say.
That's the
The
first
house is like a little kid's dream
Yeah.
because of the monster that lives inside that they can play with and do things with. And that was the one that my daughter played with the most, was the house. Now my son really liked the bike that came with it. And out of all of it, that one to me was the most full featured one, was the bike.
Yeah.
Because it does, like, you can, do races and different things like that. And there's some fun little things going in there. The piano one did not hold water for us. The RC car did not hold water for us. And what was the other one in there? There were 5, right?
Fishing rod.
The fishing rod is it's tough.
Yeah.
And that's the one to me that feels like it's going to fall apart the most. So
Yeah.
now my son really liked the fishing rod too.
Well,
but it was not man-sized, and I guess it shouldn't be, right? But like I'm having to stoop over to play, the fishing rod game.
Yeah. Well, my cardboard build isn't Labo official. That little arcade cabinet thing here I'm pointing at in the video. I ever since I built it, I haven't even touched it. It's been sitting there on top of that TV.
Right. And I've got one of those I've got to build as well. I'm actually looking forward to that one, but we'll see how it goes. But I think that the main thing that we want to draw out of this quote, though, is the very last sentence, and I'm gonna talk about this and we're gonna move on. He says, "We're working on formulating new methods to convey its allure, so Labo sales will have longer legs." 2 things I pull out of this. Number one, what he's saying is that the current 3 Labo kits are not going anywhere.
Yep.
They're going to continue to support those. They're going to continue to sell those. They're going to continue to push those. But number 2, he is saying that there are more Labo kits coming. Mm-hmm. And we know that because we already saw previews for them in Labo's introduction and the lead up to them.
Like that parrot?
To their release. Yeah, like the bird, and wasn't there like a drum too or something like that?
Camera.
Yeah, the camera. So there's other stuff coming. But I think that maybe they're going to hold off on it.
That's the peripheral you need for Fatal Frame.
Oh, yeah. I still stand by the fact that they're missing the boat if they don't do something Labo with Yoshi's Crafted World. But there may have been something in the pipe for that, and they may have punted on it because Labo hasn't sold well. But neither here nor there. If you think Labo, like, here's what I would love for do is the people listening to this show, tweet us, write us on our Patreon, email us. What would you do with Labo if you were Nintendo? That's what we want to know. Tell us what you would do with Labo, and we'll feature some of those things on next week's show. All right. Speaking of sales, though, let's move into this number. Wall Street Journal is now reporting that analysts have done a 180 on their skepticism of Nintendo's statement that they would sell 20 million units of the Switch this physical year. And now they're saying that is entirely possible due to holiday demand being unexpectedly good. The Nintendo Switch sold, I know tons of people who got Switches for Christmas, and so it was a good year for Nintendo. We still don't know what the current numbers are, but we're going to have those Q3 numbers within a few weeks, so we'll be able to see how close we're getting to that. Jesse, I just wanted to ask you this. How many units do you think Nintendo sold in Q3?
Good question. I know at the end of Q2 they only had like a third of the way into their goal, so they needed to really step it up. So they, I wouldn't surprise me if they were actually into the 16 to 17 million range in 3 quarters, if they're that confident that they'll hit the numbers in the end in 3 more months.
Okay, Gary, what do you think they sold?
I have no idea. I don't really keep track of the sales numbers, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. They are important, obviously. They are, the thing that will hopefully bring us more games, but I really don't keep track of it, so I couldn't tell you.
So, Jesse, refresh our memory here. You said they were 1/3 of the way to that 20 million.
Yeah.
So that would be...
No, yeah, even less. I think at the Q2 mark, they sold 5 million for the year.
Okay.
Bringing up 18 million for the first year, so brought it up to 23 million total.
Right. I'm going to guess they did 9.
So.
Not 9 plus the 5, or 9, not 5 up to 9. I'm going to guess that they did 9.
So 9 total for the year, or 9 in that quarter?
9 in that quarter.
So you're up to a total of 14. So a little bit
less
than what I said.
There's a ton of bundles that were out. You had the Diablo bundle, you had the Mario Aces bundle that was Walmart exclusive. You also had the Smash bundle, which you absolutely can't find anymore. There was the great Mario Kart 8 Black Friday bundle, that was basically giving you the game for free. And then there was, what was the other bundle?
The Fortnite, Pokemon.
Fortnite and Pokemon, right. So there was like 6 different bundles out, right? And so I think that plus the software is where the tail is where the tail of the sale is going to be, because you had those 2 absolutely huge titles hit within 3 to 4 weeks of each other. You had,
my son was actually thinking about getting the Fortnite bundle and buying a second Switch because his first Switch is damaged. I talked him out of that, saying we can get this repaired, which we finally did ship. We got that out there. Nintendo has it now, and repairing his Switch finally.
Fantastic.
So we should have it back by next week.
Oh yeah, they've got great turnaround time too on shipping.
They report 2 to 3 weeks out, but I've never had my system down for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. They do a great job with repairs.
They spend more time in a UPS truck than they do in the warehouse.
That's true. Yeah, mainly because they just flip they just get your data off there, hopefully, and flip it around, and there you go.
But I doubt he has his data backed up.
Yeah, I doubt he gets the same Switch. Did he write down a serial number before he left?
Yeah, I believe I took note of it. But
there you go.
Yeah.
See if it's the same one that comes back, because I know when I did that for the Wii, it was not, because I lost all my data off my Wii. That was what kept me from finishing Skyward Sword.
Ouch. No, I still
was like 2/3 of the way through it, and my Wii stopped reading discs.
Okay. Ouch.
Yeah. So between Pokemon Let's Go, between Smash and Smash selling 5 million, yeah, I think that 9 is not a hard number to reach there for that quarter, but we'll see.
Elvis says there was a Diablo bundle too.
Yeah, there'll be one of those conference calls here in the next couple weeks, and we'll know more then. Speaking of knowing more, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe came out last Friday, much to the chagrin of some people who basically crapped all over it because they said it was just a Wii U port and they didn't, it wasn't worth the money and all that kind of stuff. Again, we say this a lot on the show, but there's a whole generation of people who didn't have a Wii U. And Jesse and I were talking about that before the show got on the air. And the proof is in the pudding. 25% sale increase over the Wii U for New Super Mario Brothers U on the Switch. Actually, it was a little more like 24.8, but rounding up is 25. In the UK and Japan, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe dethroned Smash as the #1 seller for the week, selling 166,000 units in Japan, and the sales numbers in Britain, I don't actually, in the UK, I actually don't have those. But again, that 25% increase and being #1 on the charts, actually pretty good. we've been playing it. I've been playing through the game. I've got a video uploading right now as we speak that'll be on our YouTube channel, and I'll talk about it a little bit more here in the show. But
just to chime in a little bit, the UK sales figures are 50% higher than the Wii U, whereas 25% on average over Europe. It's 50 in the UK.
Wow. Yeah. I'm really going to be interested to see, 6 months, 10 months down the road, what the attach rate of this game is to Switch consoles.
It's going to outdo Smash.
You think so?
Sooner or later, it'll dethrone Smash, yeah. I think so.
In the Wii U, Mario U did outsell Smash for small margin. Yeah. It was 5.7 compared to 5.3. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for Bros. U Deluxe to break 5.7.
I just think that some people who are very negative about this game forget about the power of 2D Mario.
Yep, that's exactly
among
what
Nintendo
it is,
fans.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. Like, I get the criticism is that it's a port, and I get that. But again, the counter criticism to that is always going to be there's a whole generation of people who did not play Nintendo games because of the Wii U. Of course, they're going to bring the better games over.
Yep. And of course, back in 2012, we were kind of having New Super Mario Brothers. We were drowning in them.
Yes.
And now it's been 6 years, so it's kind of, even if it is, an enhanced port as opposed to a new game, people are wanting it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, there is not, let's say this, there's not as much deluxe here as there was for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Right.
But there's differences. There's some differences. I'll talk about those when we get to what we've been playing.
Just like Donkey Kong, it adds easier modes with the new characters.
Right. Just a couple other news items here that we do want to hit on. Pokemon Go news. The Hoenn event started on Saturday and will continue until January 29th.
And I added I added all the Pokemon names in there because I know you enjoy pronouncing them.
Oh, yeah, I love them. Pokemon originally discovered in the Hoenn region, which is Gen 3, will be appearing more frequently in the wild. If you evolve Shroomish into Breloom during the event, it will learn an exclusive move, which is called Grass Knot. Field research will highlight Pokemon originally discovered in Hoenn. Raid battles will include Hoenn-discovered Pokemon, including Kyogre and Groudon, as level 5 raids. And Hoenn Pokemon can be hatched from 7 kilometer eggs, and shiny Zigzagoon and Tailo can now be found in the wild. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Zigzagoon.
It's pronounced oiled. According to our
notes.
Oh
yeah. Wild in our notes was W.
I don't know why that was a pound sign in there.
Wow, yeah. I don't know how you would even begin to say that, but Pokemon Go is still going strong. One tidbit about the 3DS this week, and last week, guys, if you listened to the show last week, we got into a pretty lengthy discussion. Business Justin visited us, and Ranty Justin visited us. Actually, they're the same person.
Ranty Business.
And what's that?
Ranty Business.
Ranty Business Justin, Lord Business, joined us and talked a little bit about why the 3DS is still around. Made a lot of sense. This week, Nintendo adds 3 games to the Nintendo Select line for Nintendo 3DS, which drops the manufacturer's suggested retail price of each game to $19.99. Those games added to that list, and I believe this is effective right now,
yes,
are Star Fox 64 3D, which is an excellent port remaster of that game. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, again, another excellent game. And Super Mario Maker for 3DS, otherwise known as the gimped version of Mario Maker, but at least it still works because no one's playing it on their Wii U.
Why would Nintendo keep doing Switch ports and remakes is a question that a lot of people ask. All you got to do is look at the Select line on the Nintendo 3DS and you'll see why they're doing a lot of ports and remakes. Mm-hmm. Because the Select line is a sign of a game selling so, ridiculous amounts to the point where most of the elitists have got the game, so they drop the price for everyone else who doesn't have it. And you got Super Mario Maker, port. Majora's Mask, port. Ocarina of Time, port. Star Fox, port. Mario and Luigi, isn't that one of them as well? Mario and Luigi.
I believe one of them is, yeah. Dream Team, possibly.
There's ports. There's a lot of ports in there.
The only game that's in there that I think is not a port is Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and that, to be fair, everyone owned Animal Crossing.
I just looked at the Nintendo site, and they're still saying Majora's Mask 3D is $40, so maybe it hasn't kicked in quite yet.
No, it's not kicked in yet. No.
That should be dropping down to 20 as soon as they do.
And I think this is different from the UK one, because I'm sure Mario Maker's already in the select line over here.
Yeah, I think UK had that added last year.
Because I only picked it up for £10, which is ridiculously cheap. And Mario Maker is actually really, really good on the 3DS, despite what the reviews said when it came out.
I agree with you on that, but my only gripe about Mario Maker on the 3DS is that you can't use your amiibo. You can play courses with amiibo that have already been created, but that's a huge missed opportunity that they had there, because the amiibo functionality for Mario Maker was some of the most fun. Yeah. Functionality, because you could actually, you could play whole levels as different characters, quote unquote.
And I mean, yeah, it was missing some internet features. But look, if you want to play a really good Mario game, this is actually amazing on the 3DS right now, because all the terrible levels, guess what? They've all been dropped, and it's only the best of the Wii U that's there now. And
there's some really difficult levels, really good stuff. These 3 games join the Nintendo Selects line on February 4th. So you've got a couple of weeks, and they are going to join here in the North American region Super Mario 3D Land, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Welcome Amiibo, Kirby Triple Deluxe, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. And you can go to nintendo.com/Nintendo-Selects for a full list of all the games, which by now I'm thinking for the 3DS, there's like 20 games or more in the Nintendo Selects line. So, I mean, if you don't have these games and you've missed out on some stuff, I know Donkey Kong Country Returns for the 3DS is on there. Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I remember I bought Ocarina of Time on cart when it launched because they didn't have them digitally on eShop right away.
Yeah. Ultimate NES Remix is in there.
I lost the cart, rebought it digitally, and then they dropped in price the next week.
Yeah. Oh. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is another one that's in there. Mario and Luigi Dream Team, you were exactly right. Gary is in there. Tomodachi Life, Lego City Undercover, The Chase Begins, Nintendogs and Cats, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, Mario Party Island Tour, Yoshi's New Island. Don't buy that game.
Okay, so
don't buy that game. And oddly, this one is odd to me. Disney's Frozen, Olaf's Quest.
Wow.
Is a Nintendo Select. Yeah.
So I've got to ask you guys, right? Do you think this could be the future of 3DS, is doing a lot more of these Selects lines? Because my opinion is that with how cheap the 2DS is, if the software was equally as cheap, then that system is going to still sell a lot of stuff. And it's not going to upset as many people because there'll be new releases to retail, but they won't be new releases to us. So I think this is a good thing. I think that they should reduce the majority of the software library now. And to be honest, it entices me back because some of the games that I don't have that are in the Selects line, I've actually picked up since they've been in the Selects line. So do you think that the reduction in price is going to be a continued trend on the 3DS?
You know what I could see them doing, and I would actually like them to do, and this may, I have a feeling neither of you are going to think this is a good idea, but that's okay, is with the Wii U kind of moving on and Switch becoming the main home console and not following through on Virtual Console, and the 3DS still having Virtual Console and still being active, what about compilation carts of Virtual Console games?
I actually think that's a good idea. I think the collections should have been done since the start, because
but Zach has been saying the same thing for years.
Like an NES collection, an SNES collection, which I know those are the only ones there, and that one would only work on new 3DS because of, but Like if they were able to collect some of those games and do like 2 or 3 of those releases, those are $20 carts, $30 carts, right?
Yeah.
People are going to buy those all over again. Do a Game Boy. Do a Game Boy one too.
Tim says, "Who's Zach?" Yeah. So another reason that it's a good idea to drop these prices is Nintendo, especially first-party Nintendo games, don't drop in price just on the aftermarket. I took a look at GameStop, and they sell new copies of Majora's Mask 3D for $40. A pre-owned copy of Majora's Mask 3D, $40. It's not even discounted.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to get a good deal on Nintendo.
And then they do have
first party.
Do have the $20 version on pre-order.
Okay. So why even buy the $40 version at this point?
I'm sure
unless you just got to have
the pre-owned will go down after the price goes up, but I just found that interesting.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's our news for the week. Let's move into what we've been playing, shall we? Gary, let's start with you, man. You've got quite a list here, including a game that we got some codes for, and we're going to be doing a giveaway here soon. Talk to us about your list of games.
Yeah, so I haven't been on the show for a bit of a while. This list is actually much bigger than this. It includes like stuff like Splatoon 2, which I've dropped in like a couple of hours and that. But these are the substantial games I've played for the last 2 weeks. So as you guys might remember, my Game of the Year stuff, I just dropped in for a second, didn't actually do the full Game of the Year show. I did say that Smash wouldn't be in my top 5. Smash isn't in my top 5 for 2018, I can assure you that. And the reason is because I've been playing Starlink Battle for Atlas, which is now my Game of the Year for 2018.
Wow.
I absolutely adored this game. Yes, it's repetitive in places, and yes, it's not the biggest game ever, and yes, there's not really a huge ton you can do in it, but for what you get, I absolutely adored it. I've got every ship that got released now, just missing a few of the pilots and stuff like that, but what a fantastic game that is. You've already heard everything.
You mean you've got the physical releases of the ships?
I have the physical releases of the ships, yes I do, yes. I love the Toys to Life aspect of it. Is Toys to Life dead? Yeah, don't deny that. Is it worth getting the physical or digital? Which one's the better one? It's completely up to you guys. But personally, I like the gimmicks. I really like gimmicks. I really like the experiences that sort of stuff gives. So yeah, I absolutely love the physical.
Which ones you missing, Gary? So is there a way that we can help you with that?
The only thing I'm really missing is a character called Startail. Which was only released as a pre-order bonus. Apparently, I did contact Starlink themselves, and they did say that it's going to be released everywhere. But what they mean by that is however they choose. I mean, they could just say that it's coming out everywhere and then only release it digital. But yeah, I mean, that was quite a hard pilot to get, especially in England. It was only available as a pre-order with game. So I asked at my local game if they have any sort of trade-ins or anything like that. They said no. The only one they saw was for the one pre-order of the game that they had.
Wow.
So yeah, that's all I'm missing is a character called Startail. But that's Starlink. You guys all know about it. It's old news now, but it really was a fantastic game. And yeah, I started it again on the hardest mode, and yeah, that game is not gentle on you anyway. Never mind on the hardest mode. So other than that, I've been playing a 3DS game because I know that Marty loves to hear about 3DS and long live 3DS. So I thought that I would spend a good half an hour talking about what I've been playing on 3DS. And that is Codename Steam, which is a game that is so incredibly underrated that it's painful. And I really want Abe Lincoln in Smash.
You and I agree about something. I love it. I would love an amiibo of Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, he's so awesome in this game as well. And
he was voiced by Will Wheaton, right?
Yes.
So did you actually play this one then, Marty?
I did. I actually like that tactical strategy type games like that.
Okay, so this is
I didn't
one of
finish it, but I did play it.
this game is so strategic. It really is. Like even down to just moving isn't. It's
Hmm.
important in strategy games
Yes.
anyway, but even more so in this because if you don't move, you have perks. Um, so it's a sort of like weird grid based tactical game, as we've already said, but it's also slightly third person shooter as well. The interesting thing, um, the graphics are strange. They're like comic book style, very low poly sort of looking, flat colored like figures. It's really based on comic books. It's weird. It's you get to play as the Cowardly Lion from Wizard of Oz and Tom
Mhm.
Thumb and all sorts of strange characters.
I really hate, now that we're talking about this game, I really hate that it did not do any better than it did
Yeah,
because it's such an interesting concept for a game.
and
It's such an interesting idea, and like Nintendo really went out on a limb with this, and it got them nothing.
I mean, even the amiibo integration in this is amazing as well. You
Right.
could scan Fire Emblem characters and get them in it, and they don't fit in it at all. But the fact that they put that in is great. Like it really is. But yeah, I mean, I love Nintendo and I love third parties when they're being their weirdest. Um,
I would
so
love to see. I'm not going to say I would love to see the. What's the main character's name? Again, remind me.
it's just completely slipped me. That is gonna drive me insane now for the rest of this podcast.
Right.
I'm
Well,
looking it up right now.
if you like Codename's
As
Steam,
I'm
have you
looking it up, let me say this: that the Henry Fleming was his
Henry,
name.
yeah.
I would love to see Henry Fleming as an assist trophy in Smash.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Like his thing would be that he sets up Overwatch for you, and if the opponent moves, bam! I love it. I think that's a big missed opportunity. I love this game. I need to go back and play it. I still have it.
right, so if you
I
like,
need to.
so if you like Codename's Steam, have you considered Valkyria Chronicles 4? Because I played the demo of both games, and the gameplays are very similar.
I played
It's,
Valkyria Chronicles the original on the PlayStation 4.
it's
I
just got a
believe that's where
very,
it came out.
it's just very anime.
It is very anime, but I really liked what I played.
I'll have to have a look at that one, Jesse, because you've piqued my interest in that now. But yeah, I mean, Codename Steam, like I said, the 3DS had some amazing games that were overlooked. This was one of the best of them, I think. There is a demo out there. If you guys are interested in what you've just heard, go and check it out. And I've just convinced Marty to play a 3DS, so I've won.
You can win.
Fifth
It might
bump,
mean that I
fifth pound and
actually pick it up
everything.
for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna phone Justin. He owes me a steak dinner now. Other than that, I've been playing some indie games. One of them was actually a developer who got in contact with us of a game called Old School Racer 2, which I believe launches today. Is it today that it launches?
It did.
And yeah, it's hard to explain exactly what it is. It's 2D sort of stunt platformer, I suppose, is the genre that it would be. So you are a guy on a motorbike who basically has to get from the start to end in the majority of the levels, and you sort of have to just jump the gaps and stay upright on your bike. But there's a lot of interesting mechanics in this. There's all sorts of like level morphing, so the levels will change shape and a lot of sort of wind effects and gravity effects and all that sort of stuff. It's one of those games which I think you can get really addicted to. It's bare bones and it's fairly basic, but it honestly, I got addicted to it. I ended up staying up till like 1 a.m. playing it because some of the challenges in there to unlock new vehicles and stuff involve some racing, and they are incredibly tough. So I ended up doing that. Oh, you know what? I'll just have another go, and then I just I lost again, I'll just have another go because I was so close, and another
It's
go,
one of
and
those
another go.
games.
And yeah, it ended up.
One more
I ended up.
time.
These vehicles that you unlock, are you able to upgrade them?
There is like upgrades that upgrade everything, but not individually. No, it's so it is quite a basic game in sort of in theory, in principle. Basically, there is some unlockables and stuff like that. The majority of the game is the same throughout. But I really enjoyed it. Going in, I wasn't sure if I'd enjoy it, but I ended up playing it quite a lot. And with some of these indie games, there's a lot of games like that. There's some of that out there. Which another game I've been playing is called Conduct Together. A lot of people would have just overlooked it. That I played that more than Smash over the release period of Smash.
Wow.
Which is insane because I think I'm the only person who played something else more than Smash over that period, other than Jesse, because he hates Smash. But some of these indie games can be incredibly addictive, and like I said, I ended up staying way too late playing this.
And we mentioned this earlier. Go ahead, Jesse. I'm sorry.
Old School Racer 2 comes out Friday, so it isn't officially out yet, but probably will be by the time you hear the show.
Oh,
if you're not watching it right now.
Well, when I said it's out now, I'm in Friday by a good 5 hours.
We're not in Friday yet. So retail price $8, but it's currently pre-purchase price at a 33% off for $5.35.
Oh, that's cool. And speaking of Old School Racer, we mentioned this earlier in the show, but the developer of this game actually contacted us and gave us a number of codes for both North American, UK, and Australian markets. And so we're going to give away a few of those codes tomorrow. If you're in any of those regions, if you're in the UK, North America, Australia, here's what we want you to do. We want you to tweet us and use the hashtag old school. All right. Use the hashtag old school and tweet us your favorite racing game. Whatever, no matter what it is. Maybe it's Mario Kart. Maybe it's, Forza, whatever it doesn't have to be a Nintendo system, but understand it's going to be a code for the Switch for Old School Racer 2. And tweet us with the hashtag old school and tell us your favorite racing game, and we'll enter you in a drawing for one of those codes.
Yeah,
they also mentioned the
and I'll knock
choice.
over my microphone. Terrible.
Oh yeah, and region of choice. Yeah, good point, Jesse. Yeah. Also, if you are interested in this, there is some gameplay footage on the YouTube. I will put the disclaimer out that we got a message the other day saying it's a little choppy in places. Not sure if that was a problem on my end or on YouTube, but it does not judder. That is just a stream. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. But yeah, there's some footage on there. It's basically like when you do the jumps on Excite Bike and you have to keep the bike up straight. It's like that, except obviously modernized and really physics sort of based.
It kind of reminds me of and I hate to say this, but there's an app that I lost, an app game, like an app store game. I lost myself to for about 3 months a while ago called Hill Climb Racing. Mm-hmm. And that's why I asked you about the upgrades, because you start out with a Jeep and you're seeing like how far you can get and collecting coins. And when you meet certain goals, you get more coins, and you can use those coins to upgrade your current vehicle and even buy new levels or buy new vehicles. And they get into some really absurd stuff like lunar rovers and roller coasters and Santa sleigh and all kinds of stuff, but like motorcycles and different things like that as well. So I just didn't know if it compared to that.
Yeah, there is unlockables in different sort of vehicles and things. So basically, on each level, you can get a medal for the time that you finish the level, or you can get these three little tokens that are scattered around the levels. And basically, you have to either do like go crazy fast off a jump and it'll be really high, or do some sort of stunt to get them. And then you can use those to take part in challenges and unlockable sort of areas after that. And there is other vehicles, like there's like a buggy, like a dirt buggy kind of thing that I've just unlocked.
Okay.
There's like quad bikes. Yeah, so there is stuff like that in there. Yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't got to anything too crazy if there's anything in there, but we'll see.
Okay. Cool. I mean, that sounds like actually it sounds like a really cool game.
So also, I've just booted up my first ever pre-purchase, which was Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. The intro video was good. Stay tuned next week for some impressions on that. I didn't play too much. What I played is basically more of what I played at EGX. I think it was EGX Res last year when I had a sit down chat with Suda. And so far, I've stayed away from reviews and stuff like that. I like to go in clear with my own opinions, but I have heard they're mixed at the minute. So I don't know why that is. So I'll give my take on it next week or in a video sometime this week. And
awesome.
my other game's New Super Mario Bros. U, which we'll get into in a minute. I want to hear what you guys have been playing first, other than that, and then we'll have a little bit of a discussion on this one because it's the biggest game of the month, probably. So
absolutely, yeah. Jesse, what have you been playing?
Okay, I due to Justin's review of Double Cross last week, I thought I'd give it a try. I don't know if it's because I didn't get a chance to play through the tutorial in one setting. Like, literally it took me 3 or 4 days just to get through the tutorial, just in small little pieces. So all the nuances of the movement and attacks and phasing, it took me a while to understand all that. So I finally got into the point where I'm able to warp down into a goo world and try to play through it, and I'm like, I'm not liking this platforming at all.
It felt very Mega Man X to me. It felt, like
I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan of Mega Man either.
And there is some pretty tight platforming in the game. I'll give you that.
The thing where it's kind of like works like a grapple, but instead of like Metroid, it acts like a swing.
A phase shifter,
Yeah, it works more like
the phase slinger. Sorry,
like a slingshot. So it shoots you in the direction that's at the angle that you grasp it on as you're moving through a jump. And sometimes you have a grasp, but there's an enemy on it, and I'm not sure if you're supposed to kill the enemy first to use it, or... But I couldn't figure out a way to get to the enemy to kill it before I could use the grip. So I didn't get it. I tried, I didn't get it.
It's cool. It's cool. Different strokes for different folks. We got a video of this game over on our YouTube channel. If you want to see what Jesse and I are talking about the like the slingshot mechanic and different things like that, you can check that out over there.
Okay, so I did a video of it yesterday with showing the new games of the NES, Nintendo Switch Online. I didn't actually launch any of the North American games. I just revealed them and said, "Yep, this is what we got." And then along with the 2 SP games of, if you don't like hard games, we'll give you a harder version of it. It's not really a harder version, but it just throws you into the last level. You want to play the final boss of Ninja Gaiden? There you go. What else was there? Oh, just before the final boss of Ghosts and Goblins. But what I don't know is that the first time through or the second time through. It didn't tell you.
I believe it's the second time through because I tried that SP version, and I did end up getting the shield.
Okay, I've never gotten past level 1, so I no idea what
I played it, and I got it like up to the second ladder and got killed by the red demon. Done. Sorry.
Yeah,
I hate those goblins.
Yeah.
It can go down fire.
I think the first time I ever beat level 1 was in Tim's contest last month, so I got points for that. And I don't think I've ever done that before that.
You mean Drew's contest?
Drew's contest. I'm sorry. Yes.
Tim and Drew, same but different.
Yes. Thank you, patrons.
It's late.
Okay, yes, and I'll use that excuse too. Anyway, but what I did do is I launched the Japanese versions. So Zelda 2 with the Famicom Disk System music chip, awesome. There's a whole sub-melody going on in that theme that doesn't even exist in the NES version. I showed my son, and he's like, I like this. Because he's into music theory and stuff like I am. Then So I played a little bit of it. Of course, this is also on the video. I got the first 50 XP bag to get the first power up. In the North American version, you have the option of selecting the life power up or not choosing anything, because to upgrade the magic costs I think 100, and the upgrade the first attack is 150 or 200. So if you don't want life first, you bank it and go grab the next one. In the Japanese version, at the 50 mark, you can choose which one you want. So that would make the game easier, because you can just start leveling up your attack really early, because you don't need life increases until probably the second dungeon if you're good. You want the attack first and then the magic as you get your second spell, and then you can start building up to life. I used to be able to time it, because there's at the very final dungeon there's a boss that looks like a phoenix bird thing, that I would enter that level with 8 attack, 8 magic, and 7 life, and the XP I gain from killing the bird gives me the 8th life, so to level that up to fill my hearts into the final boss. So I was, gaming the RPG system a little. So I think this way would make it easier to do.
What you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So
the only way I ever beat Zelda 2 was a Game Genie. So the fact that you did that, I am seriously impressed.
Yeah, Zelda 2 is one of my favorite games. I absolutely love this game. I finished it. I had no idea about the differences in the Japanese version, although I probably will not play the Japanese version now. I honestly believe that this is a game that could really benefit from having the someone sit there and grinding it and then releasing it as an SP version. So you could do with playing someone else's save file, is what I'm trying to say.
So I don't know if I'm going to play it through. If I do, I have to pick which version. I'm kind of thinking of maybe trying the Japanese version, but then I'd probably have to walk through a few things because I won't be able to read the text in the towns.
I am error.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to know what the original Japanese version of that was, what he was trying to say. Anyway, so then I also played, I forget the name of the game, but whatever the game the Japanese got that we didn't get, I launched it and played a round of it. It's kind of like a fighting game if you're Rayman. So you got a body and head and arms and feet, or hands and feet, but no arms and no legs. So you're limbless, and it's like a fighting game. So there's just all you see are these circles throwing each other around, and it's sometimes hard to tell what's going on. Thanks, Michael. The game is called Joy Mech Fight.
Joy Mech Fight. Wonder why we didn't get that one. I still think, and I'm going to interject here and say this. We should have gotten a third game. Just because it's a game that hasn't been translated for an American audience doesn't mean that we shouldn't have gotten a third game.
Yeah. Right.
And the SP releases, I'm a little done on those. I think that I thought they were neat in the beginning when we were getting one. I think the getting them every month is kind of cheapening that. If we would get one every other month, or we would get one for bigger games, and if they were just a little more well done, I think that would be like the Ninja Gaiden ones. One, I don't know if you have played it.
No.
It starts you out, and you go into the final fight. If you die, you start back at the beginning of level 6.
Yeah, you might as well
there's no context. There's nothing. You're in 6-3. You die one time, and you're back in 6-1.
Yeah, you might as well just quit and relaunch again.
Right. And so, just all these SP versions, I'm thinking, eventually, am I going to have 40 games on this, or however much, or 50 games? 25 of them are like the original releases, and 25 of them are SP versions.
Pretty much. So you can't, if you don't like them, you can always rearrange the order of them and throw them on the bottom.
Yeah, but it's just going to get crowded. It's going to get real cluttered, and I don't know. Like I don't have to have an SP version of every game.
You can add more rows so they have fewer columns to make the boxes bigger. There is flexibility in there.
I just want my third game.
Anyway, so as Michael reminded me, the character is Sukapan. That's in Joy Mech Fight, and if you play
bane
Smash,
of my existence, Smash Brothers. God, I hate Sukapan.
If you play Smash, you know Sukapan. And I showed my son the video I made yesterday morning, and he goes, "Oh, that's the thing in Smash." And I'm like, and that's the only reason why people know who this is because of Smash.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay,
what else have you been playing?
Then I started playing Y2K, a postmodern RPG, and it's spelled Y-I-I-K, like a Roman numeral 2. And you know, if the game actually, the first thing the game says is this is pronounced Y2K, that's, I don't know, bad marketing. I don't know. It's weird. I just thought that was interesting that the game.
It's not
literally the first thing the game tells me. So the game. So I didn't get far in it. I think I played maybe half an hour so far. It starts you off kind of like Earthbound, in that you were just given a bunch of questions to answer. First it asks you to pick the color palette for the background, which is normally defaulted to a shade of blue, and you can go into the options and change it later. But here it says, nope, pick your color now. So I said, okay, I'll pick my purple. Then it asks for my real name. So okay, I told it Jesse instead of Laffer, so I'm playing along. And then it goes, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about your real life. I want you to answer it honestly. And I did, for the most part. So, name someone who's smarter than you but won't rub it in your face. So I gave it a name. And name the person who's always talking about video games and mangas and comics and whatnot. I'm like, I have a feeling people will put my name for that. But I couldn't, so I found a name. May not 100% match what they're looking for, but I gave them a name. And then game starts, it throws you into this small town. Again, kind of Earthboundish like. And so far there's no direction. It's just, here you are in a town. It's, you just graduated college and coming home. That's all it tells you. And it's just go out and explore. And I tried to leave, and then he goes, maybe I should go to my house. And camera pans. Your house is here. I'm like, okay, let's explore the rest of the town, except for my house, just to see what I find. And there are secrets lying around. I think I picked up 5 or 6 treasure chests. You can have items stored. There are trash cans that you can go through and rummage through. The first few I found some money. I found a slice of pizza in one, and I went, ew. And I collected it as inventory.
Just been waiting in that trash can this entire time for you.
Yeah.
Guys, have I been living my life wrong? Is this what we do? We go through trash cans and get money, free food?
The date of this setting is April 1999. Before Y2K.
So what you're trying to say is I'm a couple of years too late.
Right. And there was actually a guy kind of almost like the predecessor to a Kickstarter. Someone's literally asking for money, saying, if you give me $1, I'll give you a sticker. I'm trying to start this business thing up. Give me $1, I'll give you a sticker. Give me $5, I'll give you a magazine. Give me $10, you'll get a credit in the magazine. So I'm like, sure, I found $10 in the garbage back there. I'll give you $10. So
wow,
we'll see how that helps or bites me.
See if that comes in later on, right?
Yeah. And I normally don't even do this, but I'm actually taking pretty meticulous notes of weird things I'm seeing that this looks like a point of interest I'm going to have to come back to later. I don't want to forget this, so I'm going to actually write everything down. And one of them was this guy is wanting pizza. He says, oh, I thought you were the pizza guy. Come back when you have a slice of pizza. And what do I know? I find a pizza in the garbage. So, yeah.
There you go.
First thing I'm doing when I play it again is going to that guy in the red house.
Give him the trash pizza.
I hope this game's realistic because you're poisoning that entire city.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Oh, so that's as far
Trash
as I
money,
got.
trash pizza.
So that's as far as I got. As soon as I give the dude the pizza to see what else he says, then I'm going to go to my house, which then will open up, hopefully should open up the paths that are locked to me, because I should go home first.
Right.
You know, I've heard really good things about this game, so I can't wait to see your opinions when you've
Yeah,
got a sizable chunk of it done.
yeah. Justin is not an RPG guy, and he told me he's liking what he's played so far.
Good
He,
deal.
he offered the review copy to me, but I said I already pre-purchased it, so you go ahead.
There you go. So I have been playing Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, and I think Justin has already said everything that we need to say about this game, but I wanted to mention it simply to say that his review on this game and his enthusiasm for it absolutely sold me. It is beautiful. Like, words can't describe it. Screenshots don't do it justice. You need to experience this game if you're a fan of like hand-drawn animation, or it brings to mind Shantae, Way Forward, doing like the animation they do, especially in the Wii U version and the newer games. I think it's what, Half Genie Hero, is that the newest one that just came out? The hand-drawn animation on those is fantastic, and this game is right up that alley. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. It's hard. It's such a difficult game, and frustrating and cheap in a few ways. Like, you can definitely tell that it had that in trying to be faithful to the source material, they carried over some of that cheapness from the original release. But it's really good, and was definitely worth. I think it's worth the $39.99 price tag on the eShop. It's definitely one of the more expensive indie games that's on there.
I was just going to ask you as well. Did if you picked it up physically or digitally? So you picked it up digitally.
I did do it digitally. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to really buy this game. I brought the other one, Dragon's Trap, on my birthday on 2017, and that was such a fantastic game.
I finished that one. It was really good.
So good, and I wanted to buy this one physically, and it didn't come out physical in England. So I'm actually holding off until I can either get it physically or it goes into a sale, because where I think it will be worth the money, I'm also a bit tight. So
yeah. The first game, the first release, it was called Wonder Boy, right?
Yeah, Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. I actually had that game on TurboGrafx 16 back in the day.
Oh wow!
And I really just love that game then. I love that version of it. I think back then it was called Wonder Boy in Monsterland.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I remember playing the crap out of the game, being confused by it as a kid, not really getting that you had, they had to go here and do this and then come back and do all those things. But I love that game, and then just like playing it on the Switch, it just reawakened that. I was like, oh, I remember this game. I had bought it just for the art style and how cool it looked, but I guess it was something that called out to me and reminded me of that subconsciously and made me want to buy it. But Monster Boy it's a fantastic follow-up, and I'm really, really having a good time with it. Looking forward to finishing it here, hopefully by the end of the month. Finishing it, though, has kind of been derailed by the fact that last Friday I picked up New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. If you are a longtime listener of the show, you know that I am an absolute sucker for 2D platformers, and especially Mario. Mario is and will always hold a special place in my heart as the very first console game I ever played at home. And there's the infamous Christmas Day 1988 Pee Pants story from playing Super Mario Brothers. If you've not listened to that show, we'll get into that some other time because we need to talk about the game. I'm gonna just start off with a question from our Patreon followers. Chris Greaves asked us this. He said, "Is New Super Mario just an HD version of Super Mario World. I think that it is in a very positive way. A lot of people don't see the resemblance, but I think it's fantastic because it feels so alike. What do you guys think? First off, if you missed this game on the Wii U, you are absolutely, and you haven't picked it up yet, you are absolutely missing the best version of the new Super Mario Brothers games or series. It's fantastic. This is one of those things. It's like almost like a greatest hits. Like they've taken all the ideas from these games and kind of congealed them into one awesome package. Especially this one, I think, because you're getting the DLC, the new Luigi U DLC. You're getting the extra character in Toadette. You're getting the ability to play as Mario in new Luigi U and play as any character in Mario U.
You can still play as Mario in Luigi U? I thought that
you could not. No, because he had been kidnapped.
Right. Well, I thought you just said you could. Or
you can in this version. And when it came out on the Wii U, you could not.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, I thought they still had that out.
Yeah, I thought it as well. I'll double check that one while we're talking.
And one of the noticeable things that I found is that playing as Luigi in Mario U, he controls just like Mario. But when you play as Luigi in New Super Luigi U on this, he gets the floaty jump and he gets the wiggling legs and do all that. So they still keep this differentiation. But now you can bring over and play as Nabbit in Mario U. And, of course, you've got Toadette, who turns into Peachette. I'm going to go on record here and say this, that I think that the Super Crown is the most unnecessary power-up that has ever existed in a Mario game. And that's really the only ugly thing that I can say about this game. And the reason for that is I was playing it, I was recording a video for the YouTube channel on this earlier, and I was like playing around with Toadette because I wanted to show people, how she controlled and all those abilities. And so I had a Super Crown in my stock, and I used that. And then I was in the very first world, Acorn Plains, and if you look, there's like an acorn on the map, right, that you can go get. And I was like, the Super Crown is really just Toadette's squirrel suit, because in all the places in those initial levels where you're supposed to get an acorn, when you hit the block, you get a Super Crown instead. And so I said to myself, I'm going to pick up this squirrel suit. I'm going to pick up the acorn, and I'm going to see what happens, because I bet she just turns into Peachette, right? Because it literally gives her just the same ability as the squirrel suit. You get the boost upwards, you get the glide, all that. Nope, Toadette has a squirrel suit animation as well.
There is a difference between the two. The squirrel suit, you can do that wall cling as Peachette.
You cannot wall cling with Peachette.
Yeah. So exactly. there is a slight difference.
I'm saying though that the fundamental mechanics though are pretty much the same. Same button thing, same button command, same everything to get them to do the same thing, except there is the wall cling. The big change that I've noticed in the control of this game, or some of the big changes I've noticed in this game, let me walk that back. Number one, it looks better, and it should on the Switch. It does output at full 1080p, so there's been a resolution bump docked. It's gonna look a little bit better on the big screen than it did on Wii U. The second thing that I noticed is they've added in the ability to do the midair spin by pressing the jump button again, which I think is that's like a no-brainer. Why were we not able to do that in the beginning, right? So much so that I found myself messing up in the game, because I'll reach back to press the shoulder button, right? The ZL or ZR to do the spin. And I halfway through, I'll talk myself out and be like, no, you can press the jump button now. And then I'll fall off the pit and die.
Yeah, I think that was a good inclusion, because you couldn't do a midair twirl as some of the other suits, like the one with the propeller on the hat or the squirrel suit, but now you can. That's why it's been added in there. Some people are confused by it, thinking that they've just sort of doubled the controls, but that's why it's there. It does also slightly damage the game in some ways, because you can accidentally do another mid twirl instead of a jump off a platform.
Yes.
But
glad to know I'm not the only one experiencing that.
I mean, overall, I completely agree with Marty. I think this is the definitive version of Mario, really, in the new terms. I think New Super Luigi. Just an amendment as well, by the way. You can't play as Mario in New Super Luigi U. Just check that out.
Okay, sorry.
But
I was wrong about that.
The New Super Luigi U I liked more than New Super Mario Bros. U. I thought it was fantastic. Like, spin on things. You know, there's always this fear that you're not going to finish a level in time because you only get 99 seconds on each level, and it's a really cool little game. I actually played this with my family, which my other half does not game, and we played it with my 4-year-old daughter, who was leading the pack as Nabbit. So they've made it really accessible for families, except some of the levels are a bit too difficult, especially the vertical scrolling ones for young kids. But there is a lot of improvements in it, as you said. But Marty, have you come across anything that you don't like about this version at all?
I hate the multiplayer, but that's not like a commentary just on this version. There is nothing. There's no game in this world, even Overcooked. There's no game in this world that is more rage-inducing for me than this game.
Have you tried Tropical Freeze multiplayer? Because that is insane.
Yeah, I have. I think both of them need to go jump off a cliff together. If Nintendo could have just like added a toggle of some kind, like a friendly fire mode or whatever, that would keep them from bouncing on my head, picking me up, or pushing me off a platform, I would be fine with multiplayer in this game. But when I'm standing on the edge of a platform and I'm about to make a precision jump, and Mario 2D games need precision jumping, and my son flies across the room in a squirrel suit and pushes me into the lava without me being able to do anything about it, it just makes me want to snap a controller in half.
So there is a few things which I'm not so much of a fan of, and you've just absolutely hit the nail on the head there, which is options. There's a complete lack of options in these games. I wish that you could button map, because that second A to twirl, like, I get why that's there, but I would rather have that on ZL and ZRB as it was. So you've got extra control. And yeah, like you said, friendly fire on and off, that should have been an option as well, I think. And the other thing that really infuriates me is I've started to play through the game as Mario, and you can still pick up super crowns in your, like, out of the world map inventory.
Yes.
And you cannot use it up. So it takes up a space, and it will not let you throw it away or delete it. It is just there until you pick Toadette and use it, which is so annoying that it won't go away.
The other thing too, to kind of backpack on that, is if my item slots are full and I get an item, why can't I use the item immediately instead of throwing away another item?
Yeah, I mean, to be completely fair to this game, it is an older game now, which some of its faults are just, I suppose, just time. One of the things that I found really annoying is that if you die on a level, there's quite a bit of it's not really a loading screen, but it fades to black for a fair bit, throws you back into the overworld, and you have to reselect the level to go back in.
There are just some really odd design choices like that. Absolutely.
There is, yeah. But all in all, you know, there's a lot of people complaining about this game, especially because it's a port. I think it's amazing still. I think it's still one of the best 2D platformers I've ever played. I think the simplistic design has to be there because of the multiplayer. I think if you went as in-depth as something like Tropical Freeze or Celeste, then the multiplayer would not work. Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
I think you're exactly
Mario.
Right.
It's fine. Now, it is steep in price, and some people could argue that it's not worth that price. You're probably right. I mean, it is a port. If you had it on the Wii U, I don't think there's any need to have it again. But you can't deny it's a good game. And I'm actually fine with ports. I don't normally buy into any of them, but this one's a family game. It needed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, I was thinking about that as I bought it and as I brought it home, that there's a whole generation of our console generation there of people who are playing this game as a family for the first time, right?
Yeah, I mean that is us. My daughter's 4. She wasn't born when the original version of this was released.
And so, like, this is for some kids, this is their introduction to 2D Mario, right? If they're not playing the retro, the NES flicks Marios or whatever. So there's something to be said for this game. I don't think we should throw the baby out with the bathwater completely in the beginning. I do hope in the future that Nintendo will also port over Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario 3D World, which is the best 3D Mario that was ever invented.
And kind of the best 2D in a way, because I mean that's more 2D than 3D, I would argue, even though it technically is 3D.
In some ways.
It's got the best of the 2D mechanics, I think.
I'd say it's like similar to 3D Land. It's linear in play, but does have 3D space.
Yeah.
Also, a much better multiplayer game as well.
To answer Chris's question, I do get the hints of Mario World from this. Like, there's the emphasis, it's like it's kind of a new area. There's new maps. There's all kinds of other stuff going on. There's secret routes that you can find that lets you go around levels and do things. It's a pretty expansive map, and there's lots of secrets and things hidden within the levels to find. So I think it's important to remember that, like, that you can go back and you can find a lot of these things, especially like I just finished up the Soda Jungle level, and there's parts of the level you can get to that have instead of having a normal flag, they have a red flag, and that red flag will take you out a different way to and like you'll have these big blocks that you can skip a significant portion of that level, like the Haunted Woods. One of my favorite levels in this game, though, and we'll move on, is in the Soda Jungle. It's in the Haunted Woods. And I think you're nodding because you know what I'm talking about. It's the painted level. It's the one that looks cool. Like it very much reminds me of the way that Yoshi's Island looks. There's the art style and things like that, especially the new Yoshi's Island, that was on 3DS, kind of that hand-painted looking art. And it's got it's all based around the ghosts, the ghosts are there, Boos are there. And there's this giant, like, white-eyed Bowser statue in the back, that's kind of like creepy, leaning over everything. It's a really cool level. It's a really difficult level as well. But this is definitely a game worth playing. I totally agree with you, Gary. Like, and here's the deal. Like, going back to your Nintendo Selects argument earlier, it's funny that we'll buy Nintendo Selects because they're $19.99 and they're in a box, but God forbid somebody ports over, a game that very few people played that have a Switch, and charge full price for it.
Yeah, I mean, see, you did point on one thing there, which that we were saying about not many people. This sold actually really quite surprisingly well on the Wii U, but I mean
more than Smash, like 300,000 more than Smash.
And it made its money, but I think that it's a logical choice for this to be ported in a business sense over. And as much as people are against ports and as much as people don't like them, it's revenue for Nintendo. They make the games that you want. They make the games that you love. It's the same argument with the 3DS. Why don't they let it die? Those sales numbers have reduced. They're going to see that, so something's going to happen. But until something stops making money, then you should always wish that Nintendo do it more, because then you'll get new stuff from the money they make from this. Also, just quickly to point out, how cool is it that these Travis Strikes Again and New Super Mario Bros. U are such a fantastic showcase for the Switch. You can tear off a Joy-Con and play 2-player on the go with just a system. these are the reason these games come out. Like Tropical Freeze and New Super Mario Bros. U, both ports, both great examples of exactly what the Switch does.
Yeah, and I think that you speak to something there that's really important, and that is I have played most of my time with New Super Mario Brothers Portable.
Yep.
Handheld.
Also,
it's great. It is a fantastic handheld 2D Mario.
Really is. Also, just to point out as well, a lot of people won't mention this about New Super Mario Bros. U, but it does have motion control. So you can say to people like you can shake it to activate the powers. Like Squirrel Suit. Also, I have not heard anybody mention this at all across the board, not even in reviews. It has got HD Rumble as well in there.
I mentioned that in my video. Yeah, there's some really neat implementation of HD Rumble.
Yeah.
In this game, like especially going down pipes.
Yeah, when
things are happening in the level, like the airship's flying over, and you're feeling the rumble. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's not the greatest showcase of it. Like in terms of like a 2D platformer, I think Mutant Mud's got it the most right. You can feel baddies in the background stomping around and things like that.
Not a golf story.
But this, that's another change to it, another one worth noting, and you can't deny that it's a fantastic game. If you're against the full price port or not, if you're, you think that it's the art style's not great, if you think that the level design's a bit bland, honestly, they are feasible complaints. I get them, I hear them, I totally understand them. But from my point of view, playing this portable on the go-to player with the Joy-Con each, it just completely puts all those complaints to shame for me on a personal level. I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah. And if you have the NES controllers from the Nintendo Switch Online, you can play these games with that, and it feels like NES Mario. I mean, there's a few limitations. You're not going to have the motion controls like you just talked about. You're not going to have the HD Rumble. You are going to have to use the shoulder buttons just like you would have had to in the Wii U game. But man, it feels so good to play with those Nintendo controllers.
Yeah, I've played with a little bit with one of the 8-bit controllers. That feels pretty good on it as well.
Yeah. Last week I had mentioned that ports of Wii games or ports of DS games tend to not sell as well because people bought that hardware and played those games compared to Wii U games that people didn't buy and buying them up. So, speaking of ports, what port has come out that I haven't heard anyone talk about? Bowser's Inside Story.
Oh, yeah.
That came out. I haven't heard anyone talking about it.
We got a couple of people on our Twitter feed that are fans of the show that are playing it. I believe Callow's playing it. Colin is playing it. So we may need to lean on them a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see what those sales numbers look like. Even though that's the best game in the series, it's still a port of a DS game that sold a crap ton.
Yeah, that's only just came out today in Europe as well, so we were a little bit later than you guys on that one.
I completely agree about sales numbers. I would love to see those and see what's going on there.
Yeah, here it came out on the same day as Mario U Deluxe.
Yep. Yeah. Guys, let's move into our community spotlight section for just a little bit and answer some questions. All right, we've got several interactions I want to highlight tonight. We've already talked about a question from our friend Chris Greaves. Let's talk about this one from Brandon Johnson over on Patreon. He says this: I've been playing a ton of Sega Genesis Classics and Namco Museum Arcade. I really love these carts with a collection of games. Curious how you guys feel about them. Do you play them? Also, what kind of collections would you like to see in the future? I'd love to see a Sega Saturn collection, however unlikely, or Nintendo doing Game Boy collections if they never bring them to online services. I'm going to throw this one over to our resident Sega Sonic lover, Gary. Gary, what do you think about this type of collection carts or best of or whatever you want to call it? What do you think?
I have the Mega Collection, so it's a fantastic little collection. I didn't buy the Mega Man Collection because I already owned it on 3DS, and I think they are the best thing that they can do with retro, apart from Sega Ages or whatever it's called now. Not Ages, is it Ages?
Sega Ages, huh?
Yeah, they are really good releases because they're going back and tampering with the games a little bit. But if it's a game in its natural sort of state, then I think that these collections are definitely better than Virtual Console, despite that being probably an unpopular opinion. I think it's I prefer having everything in the one place. That they have a bit more love shown to them, especially the Sega one. You've got so many options with how things are displayed. Like it actually adds pixels in, so it makes the graphics even better than they was before, artificially, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I really do think it's a better way of playing these old games. I think you're more inclined to play them as well if you buy them in a collection. Like I played games on the Sega collection, which if they were released standalone, I would never have brought. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people who'd buy Space Harrier, but I would not pay for it if it was released on its own. So, but in a collection, well, you can have some fun with it. It's a great little thing to do. And collections that need to come out, I think we actually need to see a full like Sonic Mega Collection like they had on the GameCube with all the Sonics in, because they still haven't done that for a very long time. I think that Nintendo...
I would really like that, because Sonic 3 is one of my favorite Sega Genesis games, and its admission from the Genesis collection is a glaring hole.
Also, we did get a little bit shortchanged with our Switch version of that collection because it was missing the Monster Boy or Wonder Boy games. So, which brings me on to my next collection. We need a Monster Boy or Wonder Boy collection.
Yes.
We really do. But other than that, the one collection that I really want to see is a console which is near dear to my heart, and even though it's become quite a bit of a cult thing now, I think that some of the games are still overlooked and still haven't been played by a lot of people, which is a Dreamcast collection. I really, really want a Dreamcast collection. There's games like Power Stone, Toy Commander, which got, put to the wayside by some other games on the Dreamcast, which I think are amazing, perfect fit for Nintendo's console as well. And I'd love to play those games again. So, big fan of these collections.
Yeah, I've got both of these, and I'm not going to say they're something I'm playing like on a daily basis, but it's great to be able to go back and have. I've got this. I've got the Sega Namco Mega Man Legacy Collection, Mega Man X Legacy Collection, and literally, those are, that's almost 50 games or more there in those collections, and to be able to take that with me on the go and have that and be able to play it at any time is priceless. I've not really spoken all that kindly, I think, about the Sega Genesis in being on the show. Like I had a Sega Genesis, I had TurboGrafx, I had a Super Nintendo. I spent as much time on all of them, as I did, on any of the others. So I still have very fond memories of lots of Sega games, Sonic, Vector Man, different things like that. So to be able to play those again, Alter Beast, there's only one game that is missing, in my opinion, from these collections, and I know it'll never happen because it's licensed, but I'm just going to say it. Mickey and the Castle of Illusion was a fantastic, fantastic game. It's a shame that it's not on there. Like Disney and Sega need to work something out. And
I thought that, not recently, but I think it had a re-release on the PS3 a while ago, several years ago.
They did a new version of it. Like it was almost like it was built from the ground up.
Oh, was that a remaster? I thought it was.
Yeah. It just did not, do anything for me.
Was it not released in the Disney collection that came out? What was it called?
I don't believe so.
No. See, that was a really good idea for a collection as well, a Disney collection. I mean, in our generation growing up, who didn't play games like Aladdin and Lion King and stuff like that? You know, those games were
DuckTales.
absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Disney. I mean, they are really, you know, in a period where licensed gaming was at its highest, would be around the Genesis era as well. Genesis and Super NES, and those sort of collections, you know, we need them, and I can't believe that we still don't have that.
Yeah,
Disney
I really
collection.
wish we would get the Disney Afternoon collection.
Afternoon, that's what it's called. Thank you, Marty. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
so
still surprised that hasn't shown up.
anyway, there's an Atari collection as well. Did we forget about that one?
No, that's true. There is an Atari collection.
Yeah, I had my eyes on that one, but I'm like, you know, 150 games for $40 sounds good on paper, but how many of those games would I want to play more than once?
Right.
But the thing is, how many of those games would you try because they're in a collection? That's the important part.
That's true, but if buying it is the first step.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Right.
If that was like 30, I probably would have bid it, but 40, I wasn't sure. So I did see that coming, and I've had my eye on that release for like 3 months before it came out.
Yeah.
I've been tracking it.
But the thing is with these collections is, even though I'm saying that I'm all for them and they're really good, and I do believe that, I still think that the best releases in terms of retro were the NES and Super NES classics. And if they did a second version, I would buy that as well. The PlayStation Classic has gone down in price. If it wasn't so awful, I would have picked that up as well.
I would think that the idea going forward for me, like for classics, especially because like I'm just out of room for stuff like that, as far as even just the power cords and things, is like just do a cart and put it on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's time for that to be the thing. That's how you do it. Don't worry about packaging them and selling them. Do a digital release, do a regular, other release or physical release, and let that be that.
But yeah, this is what I was getting to with that as well. That comment is because I think it was really cool for the NES and Super NES. But I don't think the N64 needs its own mini console. I think the controller would be its biggest downfall in that system because it's ginormous.
I know, but that's the reason why I would want one, is because I would want one of those controllers that would plug into a Wii U or
you got a controller that's bigger than the system that it comes on, right?
Yeah, because my son wants one too, because he speed runs Mario 64, and he would love to play it on a proper controller.
See, I actually think the biggest problem with the classics was the peripheral end that they used. I mean, why not just a standard USB? We could have used those controllers on the Switch.
Right.
So if they do that, I would rather the N64 and GameCube classics, if they did them, release with a standard USB end on them.
Well, they don't want to have the game support all possible controllers either. I can understand that.
Yeah, Nintendo. That's their little subtle way of control. Let's move on to this next question. It's from Nick Metzger. He says, "Hey guys, I checked out the music stuff on Smash Brothers. Thought it was cool, but like many others have already said, I wouldn't walk around using my Switch as a music player. That got me thinking, what if they use that sad phone app that they keep pushing as a Nintendo World music player? They could even use the songs as achievements. Do this or that and unlock a song on the app you can play. What do you think?"
Fantastic. Such a great idea. Wow.
Like if they would take that Nintendo app and turn it into more than what it is, like make it a hub for videos when they, that actually sends you notifications. These videos, like a new trailer dropped or the new direct, like you could watch it from the app, and maybe that would unlock an achievement or do something like that. Yes. I think that's brilliant.
I'm blown away by that idea.
Just put the music on YouTube and collect ad revenue.
Right.
I'm blown away by that. I think that's a fantastic idea. Also, I did think about this before, that why doesn't that app have a news section? But in the coming soon section and stuff like that. But yeah, I never thought of it being like a sort of music player. And obviously, we'd get pushed aside because they'd start sticking the Nintendo Power podcast on it as well. But yeah, it's that's a great idea. I like it.
Yeah. Very good idea. Go pitch that to Nintendo, and hopefully it'll go somewhere. Let's head over to Twitter. Here's a couple of comments from our Twitter feed, both from Michael Burgett and Mecha. This is Mecha Dragon 101. Both of them ask about Nintendo Selects. It's kind of the same thing a little bit, so I'm gonna roll these together. Mecha says, with new Nintendo Selects titles coming to the 3DS next month, how long do you think it'll be till we see some Nintendo Select titles for the Switch? What titles do you feel would be good to make Nintendo Select versions for? Mikey Burgett says over under that in 2020 we will see the first Nintendo Selects games for Switch. That's a great question. When do you think, are we going to see Nintendo Selects for Switch? When, if we do? And what games?
I'm sure we will eventually. As probably not going to see them though until the console sales start to dwindle, maybe even going into 2021, because the fewer new consoles are sold, the fewer copies of Zelda and Odyssey are sold. That's when they'll start knocking the price down to $30.
When did we see the first Wii U Selects? Because wasn't that that was a little sticking point for a while, right? That there's no Wii U Selects.
Good point. I don't know.
I can't remember the Wii U having a Selects line. Did it have a Selects line?
It did.
I actually can't remember those. I can remember the Wii having a Selects line, I think, at some point. But player's choice, select, however you want to say, platinum, whatever you want to call it.
The label was expanded to the Wii U alongside Select Wii and Nintendo 3DS titles on March 11th, 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different regions had different titles. North America had
almost 4 years later after release.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Wind Waker HD, Lego City Undercover, NES Remix, Nintendo Land, Pikmin 3, Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed, and
I remember as soon as you said Sonic All-Star Racing, because my reaction to that was what? What?
And apparently Just Dance 2015 was also, but there is an unknown release date marked in the article I'm reading.
Right.
So I think that Select lines will come, but I agree that it's going to be the sort of the tail.
So, 2021 puts it at the 4-year mark.
Yeah. As things start slowing down.
I think 2020 would be the earliest we would see it.
Yeah, I think around December 2020 is the earliest we'd see. Yeah, but it's going to be as soon as things slow down. The other consoles will be out by then. The newer PlayStation, the newer Xbox.
So, what titles do you think we'll see first in the Selects line?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild and Odyssey will be the first two.
Yep. And then Splatoon.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I could see like Sonic Mania, the physical release, becoming a Select.
Yeah, that's difficult because it's cheap enough anyway. So I don't know if that would be in there. That's the thing. We're entering a grey area with all these budgets and indie games.
What about ARMS?
Yep, I think so.
Like Prime 4 might make like a Wave 2 or 3.
Well, I was thinking like ARMS, that would probably give it an excuse for them to promote it a little bit more, right? It's, ARMS is a Select. You can get this great game for $19.99.
Yeah, and Animal Crossing will likely be one down the road.
Eventually, sure. Yeah. All those are good questions. Brandon at Kasayan Realty asked us this, not including A Link Between Worlds, what 3DS game do you think would port great to the Switch?
I think there's a lot of these games.
That's exactly what when I read that question, and I know that we've already talked about it a little bit, so it kind of feels like a cop out, but that's exactly what I thought was Codename Steam.
There's a lot of really good games on the 3DS that could be ported over. I think that some of them need redoing a little bit. And I think one of the games I'd like to see ported over and spruced up and tinkered with, and definitely needs some improvement, was a game which I think everybody should have played on 3DS, which is Kid Icarus Uprising.
Oh gosh, that would be awesome.
I
An
think
HD version of that. Is that what you're talking about?
I think basically replace the touchscreen with the right analog stick, and you've got yourself an absolute winner of a game there.
I really like that idea. I'm still going to stick with Codename Steam. Like, I would really like to see that. I would like to see that series continue, right? But one that I'm going to throw out here for this is, since we know we're getting a release of the third one sometime this year, is Luigi's Mansion. Like, do a full on HD Wii version or HD Switch version of it. Bundle it with Dark Moon. Use the same assets and bundle it with Dark Moon, and let that be kind of the lead into Luigi's Mansion 3. I know that's a pipe dream, but
there's another couple of games that I think should come over really. And I think that budget titles and budget releases are the way to go as well. So, it's quite hard to translate some of these games and upscale them and do all the stuff and get, make the money back. But I think Box Boy Collection needs to happen. I think. I think Box Boy was a phenomenal little puzzle game. Perfect pick up and play. Box Boy is just, and we need the amiibo to come this side.
Another set of games that would need reworking a little bit, and it would probably have to come with a stylus that had a fine enough point to be useful, but anything in the Etrian Odyssey series.
Yeah.
Which then could lead to Persona Q.
Yeah, there's just so many. That's the thing. That's the thing with the 3DS. It's amazing, especially RPGs. Jesse, that tell me 3DS has got to be one of your favorite systems of all time.
Mine. I think DSs. I only went through like 3 systems. I've gone through I think 5 3DSs, and then handed them off to my kids, or just they ended up breaking in time. So
it's one of my favorites. I mean, I'm as much as a smack as I talk about it. Like, I love it because it kept Nintendo alive for me. During the Wii U drought time.
Yeah, all the Dragon Quest games that has been on the DS and 3DS, I've played them all. I played them all.
The Bravely Default series, another perfect game to sort of bring over. There's just so many that this question. It's a really good question, but there's so many answers that we could give to this. Like so many. I mean, you're scratching the surface with these games that we've.
And then, of course, if they do any of these, everyone's going to complain we're getting ports. So pick one. Do you want ports?
Complain about ports or get new game? Yeah, get the game.
I literally thought that you was going to make a Fire Emblem reference there with pick a port and pray.
I don't play Fire Emblem. I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
I know. Yeah. I really thought you were going on that route then.
Let's go to the last couple questions here so we can round out the show. At True Monato at Greg Caldwell 123, he asks us this: do you think the handheld only Switch option will be available in the U.S. this year, like in Japan, at a cheaper price? Of course, I don't think we'll see a handheld only Switch.
Didn't we jokingly call this the Switch Junior last week?
The Switch Junior, yeah. I don't think we're going to see it this year.
Yeah. Again, well, if we do, it'll be with the Pokemon launch. But again, this might be one of those things where, once things start dropping, 2020, 21.
I think if it does come out at all, you're going to see it. You're going to see it at the same time. You're going to see it in both places at the same time.
Yeah, I think we'll see a Pro versus first before we see a Junior.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're going to get a spec bump before we get a size shave, right?
Yeah, there's 2 things I don't think is going to ever happen. One is a dockless Switch, And the second one is any sort of change to the Joy-Cons, including a switch where the Joy-Cons are permanently stuck to the side. But a beefier system, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Junior does limit your playing with some games unless you buy another set of Joy-Cons that are detached.
Yep, I completely agree with all of that.
Mario Party.
Yeah, that's a whole game you're not going to be able to play with that. I don't know that Nintendo is going to do that. At Togobat, Bruce Patterson asks us this, and we're going to finish with this one. He says, I'm ready to push the pre-purchase button for Mortal Kombat 11 on the eShop. Who else will be purchasing this game? That's going to be me.
Once upon a time, I absolutely loved Mortal Kombat, but I have not liked and not enjoyed a single one since they've been in a 3D era. And it's nothing to do with the game's worsening or anything like that. It's just the 2D style beat 'em up has not been a thing that I've really enjoyed since Soul Calibur 2. But I have been sort of tempted with it. But I'm going to wait to see what reviews are like, I think. But if there's any game that's going to get me into the 2D fighting game, it's either going to be a new good Soul Calibur or Mortal Kombat. But I think we'll wait to see how it happens. I've just enjoyed games like ARMS a lot more. So yeah, we'll see. But it does. There is a buzz around it, which I'm definitely picked up on people. Noticed how excited people are for it, and it's. I wish that it does incredibly well.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I played the hell out of the first two games in the arcade. I knew every move. I knew every fatality. But just playing it at home doesn't have the same feel without a proper stick. And I don't want to spend $150 on a stick that's good for one game. So the last Mortal Kombat game I played was like MK versus DC. Or whatever.
I have extremely, extremely vivid and fond memories of Friday nights at Super Walmart in the early 90s. I'm talking 92, 93 when it first came out. When Mortal Kombat 2 came out. They had a Mortal Kombat 2 machine in the lobby of Super Walmart. Like when you first walk in, they don't really do arcades down there now. I mean, it's like Redbox there now. There used to be arcades, and I remember I would talk my parents into dropping me off with $5 in quarters and money for a hot dog and a Coke from the Walmart deli, and that's where me and my friends would spend our Friday nights on the weekend. Is watching and playing against each other, playing Mortal Kombat.
I always really appreciate and like the sort of the romance that people talk about arcades, especially the Americans, because we never had any arcades around here unless they were partnered with a bowling alley, and when they were more sort of cash grab machines than arcades. But this ties back to the Mortal Kombat thing, is that that's my memories of Mortal Kombat was playing that in an arcade in Spain, which is probably one of the only full proper arcades that I've ever really visited, just pure gaming. And so I've played it so much in the past that I kind of find it hard to play now. But I just hope it does well. Like I said, I think I think we're at a time now where some of the older genres of games, like the 2D fighting, and I mean, we've got Streets of Rage coming as well. I think it's about time we've got a little bit of a resurgence for those. So hopefully it does well.
I forgot about Streets of Rage, but I totally, totally agree with you on that. 2D fighting needs to come back in a big way. I'd love to see, and I know it's never going to happen, but I'd love to see a Killer Instinct game on a Nintendo system again.
Yeah, Clay Fighters, completely agree with you.
Yeah, Clay Fighters. God, I remember that game. I wanted it so bad, and then I got it. And
I had it, and it was.
I wanted to get rid of it so bad. I remember going and having to specifically go to there was the tournament edition and Clay Fighter tournament edition, and it was like I think you could only rent it at Blockbuster. In the U.S., like you couldn't buy it, you could only rent it there, And I remember going and seeking out a Blockbuster, and so I could rent Clay Fighter Tournament Edition. Man, if they here's the thing, we laugh about it, but if somebody picked that franchise up and they did it right and they made a competent fighting game, be all over it.
Oh, you know what? You know what though? I mean, it was goofy and it was a bit funny in places and stuff. If it did get picked up again and they really drove on the like burnt out 90s mascots, because I mean Earthworm Jim was in it, then it could be fantastic. You know, have Earthworm Jim, Bubsy, Parappa the Rapper, you know, all those forgotten 90s stars shoved in there. It would actually
Poochie
be
the dog.
Pooch.
Oh no. Anyway, the Sonic Chaotix crew.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like if they did a game like that and it was all the sort of the mascots that you forgot about, like Klonoa. I don't know if you remember Sparkster, Rocky Knight Adventure.
Oh yeah,
It would actually be a fantastic game. Look, this is happening. Kickstarter heading your way. 90s fighter. Let's do
it. Guys, that has been a show. That's been episode 213. We want to thank you for writing in over on Patreon and Twitter. We're already getting plenty of hashtag old school replies, you know, for our contest to win a copy of Old School Racer 2. So again, use that hashtag old school. If you're in the Australia, North America, or UK territories, and enter to win a code for Old School Racer 2, all you have to do is use Old School. That's the hashtag. Tell us your favorite racing game via Twitter, or you can do it over on our Facebook or Instagram page as well, and you'll be entered. We'll be giving those away over the weekend. I want to thank Gary and Jesse for joining us again for episode 213. Guys, you are awesome, and we thank you for hanging with us really late. And of course, all you guys on the live chat over there too on YouTube who are watching this, thanks for staying up late and hanging with us. And if you're listening to this via podcast, whether it's in your car, in your earbuds, at your office, wherever, thanks for everything as well.
Apparently, you can listen to podcasts through Alexa too if you have the TuneIn skill enabled. We found that out a few weeks ago.
Alexa, play Nintendo Dads. There you go.
Exactly.
Just play the new Nintendo Dads. There you go. She'll do it. We want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off for backing us at the $35 or $30 or above level. You guys are awesome. You can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads to support us anywhere from $1 to $30 or anything that you feel like giving. You can follow us on social media. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube at Nintendo Dads. We're the same everywhere. Just search for Nintendo Dads. You will find us. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. You can call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 926-256-3237. And if you want to buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merchandise, you can head over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store, all lowercase, and get a shirt, a cell phone cover, a bed cover, curtains, leggings. Who knows? We might even throw some underwear up there. Who knows? Big thanks to OC Remix for music used throughout the show, and Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for all their awesome artwork. You can check us out every Friday on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and check us out over at vgtribune.com and YouTube for weekly videos as well. For myself, for Gary, for Jesse, we're the Nintendo Dads, and you're awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Maple syrup mousses.